Good morning, my lovelies, and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. This will be going out on Wednesday, so day 10. And today's video is a Christmas cook with me video, and you may have guessed from the title, it is very much what I'm making today is very much, I think, from what I've heard from other people over the years, very much a Marmite item, in as much as you either love it or you hate it. Now, I was introduced to this particular accompaniment back in what I would have been late teens, early 20s. So I can't remember which Christmas I was away at my boyfriend of the time's house, but his mum introduced me to this accompaniment. And she was also the lady that introduced me to the Delia Smith's complete cookbook, which I believe she bought for me, not when I was with her son, but when I got married to my first husband, which wasn't her son. And everything I cooked was from the Delia Smith complete cookbook for many, many years. I even used to, up until a few years ago, make my own Christmas pudding. But I stopped doing that because it worked out so much more expensive. And I think the Delia Smith recipe that I used to call for something called a drink called stout, which a lot of old men when I was young used to drink, but I don't think you really hear of it now. But yeah, I was having difficulty getting a hold of a can of stout. Off licenses began to disappear from in the village up the road, or even in the high street in the town. And yeah, it was difficult to get hold of just one can. And I thought, you know what, it costs a fortune, it takes a lot of time and effort, it's actually cheaper to buy a Christmas pudding, and I don't mind having a bought Christmas pudding. But I've kind of gone off of track, as I always do. But today we are going to be making, drum roll please, bread sauce. Yes, I know some of you are probably going, oh my God, but let me tell you, if you have never tried decent homemade bread sauce, you need to. And the reason that I say it's a Marmite item is because over the years, whenever I've mentioned bread sauce to any of my friends or anybody just in passing, a lot of people will say something like, oh my God, it's like eating ready brack on your dinner, or oh my God, it's disgusting. And I think it seems that the general consensus of opinion with people is that they've had it out of a packet. Now, I can't vouch for any kind of packet bread sauce because I've never eaten it in my life. But from the minute I ate my boyfriend's mum's bread sauce, I was converted. And so I've gone on then to obviously have children, and I've just always served it. And the two men that I've been married to during that period of time have also loved homemade bread sauce, so it's always worked out quite well. Some of my kids love it, some are a bit like, I don't think everybody has it on their dinner. Certainly my eldest daughter does, which, by the way, I do need to say thank you so much for all your well wishes for my daughter. She had her operation last Monday. She is now completely thyroidless. There will be some treatment that she has to have going forward, but I do appreciate you all sending well wishes for her. Oh God, now I've gone off at a tangent. I don't know what I was saying. Completely lost it. Yes, the kids. So my eldest daughter and my youngest son, they absolutely love it. And my son has already put an order in. He messaged me a couple of days ago and said, Mum, are you making bread sauce this year? Because I really wouldn't mind having some at my own house. So now I always make far more than the recipe calls for, because the recipe calls for 1 pint of milk, Now I'm going to times that and make 3 lots of what the recipe says, and I will put the recipe in the description box down below, and I definitely urge you to give it a try. So I will be taking some with me to my daughter's for Christmas Day, along with a few of the other trimmings that you've already seen me prepare on the channel during Vlogmas, or maybe even before Vlogmas, I can't remember. It's always nice, isn't it, if you're eating at somebody else's house, that you can take something with you, and especially if it's something homemade. I always feel that for me, I would really appreciate that if somebody did that for me. So I'll be taking some with me there. I will be giving some to my son, and then I need some for me. So at some point during the Christmas Day, New Year's Day, that whole festive period, I will be at one point planning on doing my own Christmas dinner. I am planning on cold meat, mash and pickle, because that's probably my favourite dinner of the year. I will serve bread sauce on that. There may be days where I'm just having pigs in blankets with sausage meat and stuffing balls with mashed potato and pickle. I will put bread sauce on that, so it will get used. So I would definitely like to have a pint here, take a pint with me, and give some to my son as well. That is the plan. So I'm timesing the recipe by 3 today. So yeah, let's get into it. So these are the ingredients that you need to make the bread sauce. So we've got milk, we've got our bread out of the freezer, onions, cloves, bay leaves and whole black peppercorns, salt and pepper. And then when you're actually serving, which of course I won't be today, so I've just got these out to show you, just before serving, cream and butter, which you add right at the end. So if you're cooking ahead of time and freezing, you don't need these 2 things now, but once you warm it through gently on the day that you're going to be serving up the sauce, then once you've got it to the required heat, then you would add some cream and a knob of butter to serve. So let's get into it. Make 1 pint of a bread sauce. You're going to start off with a pint of milk, between 15 and 18 cloves, 8 black peppercorns, 1 bay leaf and 1 onion, and some salt. Now I'm making this in bulk, so I'm going to be doing 3 times this amount. So I'm going to do 3 pints of milk, and I'm just going to obviously treble up on these other items. And we want the milk in our pan along with our onion, which we are going to put the cloves into. So I should do that now. So I'm just going to put my cloves into the onion, like so. So 9 in each. So I use 18 per 1 pint of milk, because I do like a pronounced flavour, but the recipe does say between 15 and 18 cloves. So that's totally down to you. And if you don't like cloves, the recipe does state that you could use nutmeg instead. So again, I will have that recipe linked down below. So I've got the milk in the pan, and then we are going to pop our onion in along with our bay leaf and our peppercorns, and then we need to bring everything up to the boil. Oh, sorry, and salt. I will link the recipe below, as I've said. So that's our onion studded with the cloves, so that's in the pan. So the bay leaf goes in, the 8 black peppercorns, and some salt. And then we're going to bring that up to the boil. So that's all in the pan ready. So I'm just going to prepare, because I'm doing 3 times the amount, so I'm just going to prepare 2 more onions and get that all in the pan and bring that up to the boil on my induction hob. I have put it on number 6, so it might take a while, but I don't want the milk to catch. You know what milk's like. So we've now got the milk and the clove-studded onions, bay leaves, peppercorns and salt into our pan. We now need to bring that up to the boil. So we're up to boiling point. We are going to take the pan off of the heat. We're going to put a lid on and we are going to leave to stand for 2 hours minimum. And that's because we want all of those flavours to infuse the milk. So I might even flip my onions over so the cloves are actually within the milk. Now, while that's doing its thing, that is the time to prepare the breadcrumbs. For each pint of milk, you need 400 grams of breadcrumbs. So for me, that's going to be 3 times that amount that I need to prep. So once that's off the heat and sitting infusing, I will get those prepared and ready. It's best to use a loaf that is a couple of days old rather than a fresh loaf. That is just one of the tips on the actual recipe, so bear that in mind. But if you can pick up any yellow sticker bread, you're probably going to be fine, as it'll be going out of date and it will be a couple of days old already. So that is just coming up to boiling point now. So I'm going to drag that off of the heat, bring it forward, pop the lid on and put a 2-hour timer on my phone whilst I prepare the breadcrumbs. I'm going to be using this contraption, so I'm going to wash it up because it doesn't look particularly clean. So the story with this is my 3rd Christmas in this house, having moved in at the end of January 23, and each Christmas when I've gone to make the bread sauce, I've thought, well, the first Christmas, oh God, what am I going to use for my breadcrumbs? Haven't got anything. And I said to my son, oh, could you ask Dad, can I borrow the thing for the breadcrumbs? And then he's brought it over and then I've used it, washed it up and sent it back in a carrier bag, and that's happened every year. So I've already got it here ready. But yeah, I think it needs a washing up. I think it's probably just been sitting in the cupboard for a year since I last used it, no doubt. I think you should give it to me, don't you? So I've washed up the Bosch Maxo mix, ready for the bread. The thing that concerns me is these weighing scales, because they are absolutely rubbish. So I'm hoping it's all going to work out okay. Weighing scales and a kitchen knife have definitely got to be the next 2 things that are bought from the home sinking fund, and as quickly as possible as well. So before doing your breadcrumbs, you're going to need to remove all the crusts, and then I've just cut the slices into smaller pieces, a bit like eggy soldiers, isn't it? Just to make it easier once it goes into that Maxo mix thingy bob. I made a lovely mess of that, tipping the last lot of breadcrumbs in to the top of the scale, and we've had a bit of a spillage, deep joy. So we need 4 ounces, 110 grams per 1 pint of milk used. And you will notice, no you won't, because the label came off of the milk. I just use normal organic semi-skimmed that I buy every day. I don't buy special milk for this, but the recipe does call for breakfast milk. Of course, if you use full fat whole milk, then of course that's absolutely fine. I probably wouldn't use skimmed. Maybe it wouldn't be creamy enough, I'm not sure. But yeah, I find that normal semi-skimmed milk is absolutely fine. Now I need to write down, because I've got a lot of this to do. So I need to keep track of how many breadcrumbs each time I have a scaleful, so that I know exactly that I've got the right amount. We hope, because these aren't accurate, but it'll be fine. So 60 grams in the first lot, and then just over 50 on the second, and I need 110 per pint. So you're going to find 4 to 5 slices of bread, obviously depending on the accuracy of your scales, would be what you would need for 1 pint of milk. Looks like an awful lot of breadcrumbs, doesn't it? I must admit, but we're pretty much there. We've pretty much used the whole of that thick farmhouse loaf as well. Now to clear up, there's going to be some very happy birds in my garden today, I would say. Well, we are an hour in to our infusion, and the house smells like Christmas. Absolutely divine. Our 2 hours are now up. Houston, we've got a problem. I've got 25 minutes before starting work, so it's all getting a bit up against the wire now, unfortunately. So we are going to put a low heat back under our bread sauce. No, that's the wrong one. That's the right one. So I'm just going to do number 2 for now. I'm going to tip in my breadcrumbs, of which, of course, I have got absolutely loads. Okay. And at this stage, we want to add, I thought it was only butter at the end, but it is a knob of butter. I say a knob, I think it's supposed to be an ounce, but I'm just going to cut a bit off and not go crazy. Butter's expensive at the end of the day. I'm going to give that a stir around. Now, what the recipe will tell you to do, but you can tell that I'm stressed because I'm starting work in a minute. Should have taken the onion and everything out first, but that's not a problem because it's not heating up and it's easy to get the onions out. Not a problem at all, although we're going to lose some of our breadcrumbs onto the onion, but no biggie. Give them a bit of a tap. Gosh, honestly, talk about not professional. This is the thing, isn't it? You know, if only I didn't have to start work and I could have just taken the time today to get this finished, but everything is rush, busy. And I know it's my fault about this Vlogmas idea, but, you know, it is what it is. And I have really enjoyed doing it, and, of course, I've really enjoyed reading you guys' comments and having your support of it as well. Okay, that's fine. We've got those all out. Let's get rid of my spoon. So we're just going to let that now warm through. And what will happen is the breadcrumbs will swell and thicken the sauce. So it should take round about 15 minutes on a very low heat, and you need to be stirring that every now and then. You're going to know once your butter's melted as well. And then you can put the onions and cloves. Obviously, I've still got my bay leaves and peppercorns in there, but you can transfer those back into the pan then and leave them there until just before you're ready to serve. But of course, I'm cooking ahead of time, so I'm going to be freezing my mixture, and I will separate it all out, and I will still put the onions and the cloves in the frozen container, or the containers that I'm going to use to freeze it. I've No idea what the time is, but I know it's gone 10 o'clock. Didn't finish till 8, made myself some soup. Oh, long story. Exhausting. If only they hadn't changed the retirement age. Or I had a pension. One or the other. Well, I do, but only in this job, so it's, yeah, not worth a lot of money. But anyway, there you go. Exhausted, but pleased that the bread sauce is made. And that's another thing ticked off of the Christmas preparation list. So all I've got to do now is make the base for my turkey and leek pie without the meat, so that the cooked meat can just be stirred into the rest of the filling. And buy a turkey, cook it, slice it, freeze it. So quite happy that I've kind of broken the back of all of that. So as you can see, I've got 4 containers, and I think I should have counted, but I kind of lost track of how many ladles full there are in each pot. That one is smaller. That's why it looks like there's more in it, but there actually isn't really. So they've all got about the same. I think it was 4 ladles in each. So my son can have the smallest one. I will have one, and no doubt daughters. I'll take one with me to my daughters on Christmas Day. One for home, one for my son, one for Christmas Day at my daughters, and one for my other 2 daughters who I think may be together. So that's that all sorted and done. Now I've just got to try and find some space in the freezer. That's what was taken out, so that's for the food waste. And yeah, like I said, I will pop the recipe. You can tell I'm tired. No, that's no excuse, because I'm forgetful anyway. I will put the recipe in the description box or in a pinned comment, one or the other, so that you can check it out for yourself. But I highly recommend it. If you've only ever had it out of a packet, you need to taste proper homemade bread sauce. Serve it with your chicken, serve it with your turkey, make it a Christmas tradition. It's well worth it. Absolutely delicious.